to this question. What do you think is solely responsible for greed? Now, I don't want us to just limit it to one sector alone, but let's start it from the grassroots, and let's start from us, the masses, citizens of Nigeria. Those of us in the marketplace, we're traders, we're doing our business, day-to-day activities, down to the plumbers, to the electricians. Let's go over to the, what other people now do we have? But basically, people who happen to be buying and selling, rendering services or another. I've seen this thing happen many times where, there's an amount set aside for something, and then you ask them, oh, how much is this supposed to be? Because they probably think that, oh, this person doesn't have a clear idea of how much this is. They inflate the price, oh, this is the amount, only for you to go back later and find out that you ended up buying that thing 3 times how much it is really supposed to be for. Or I remember one time I was traveling, I was in transit from one state to another state, and I saw a lot of Irish on the road, all those buying, impulsive buying when you're on a journey. And I said, okay, I want to buy Irish potatoes, and how much is it? We priced and everything. When these people were trying to turn the Irish in the nylon, I saw that there was a plate underneath it, okay, that elevated the basket, and they just filled it up. When they turned it in the nylon, I was like, this cannot be everything that is in this basket that is in this nylon. Turn it back, let's see. And I turned it back, it was almost half the basket. Are we going to talk about what sort of people? Mechanics now. You take your car to the mechanic. They end up, some mechanics, so we don't have to generalize, they end up taking out things from inside your vehicle, and your car is worse than when you brought it over there. Or we want to talk about some of our leaders, which we have seen time and again, a singular person stealing 80 billion naira, the amount of money that is meant for a state. All of these things, I think, it's a reflection of the greed that is deep-seated in the hearts of people. And what do you think might be the reason for this recurring menace in different aspects? It's not just in one aspect, because we might want to point hands to the politicians and say, these people keep stealing our money. They have more than enough money, but they keep taking our money. We might want to point our hands on the traders or the supermarket, but in one way or another, we might have exhibited the same trait. What do you think is responsible for greed?
I think for me, I would say basically it's greed. Yes, I would say greed is responsible.
Greed is responsible for greed.
Greed is responsible for whatever greedy behavior that people exhibit. I would say this because it's that desire, that intense and excessive desire for you to accumulate wealth, material possessions, power, even when you know that means it's not possible. You just want a way to be there at the expense of other people. By this time, you throw away your morality. You don't care about whatever it is that is happening. You are not even concerned whether you're hurting the people around you or not. You just want to be there. You just want to get to the top somehow. So like I said, greed is responsible for this greedy behavior from people, because people just want to make it overnight. You give an instance of some people who sell and then they go ahead to do some kind of shady things so that people don't get to know. I think there was a day I went to one of very popular stores here in Abuja. So we got some items, and then this woman that was at the cashier that was supposed to take account of everything that we took, she inflated the money because we took a lot of things actually. So because they were much, she calculated everything together and then inflated the money by, I think, if I'm not forgetting, by I think 5,000 or 6,000 naira thereabout. Yes. So something in me now told me that this woman should check this thing one after the other. The moment you say they should check it one after the other, they start to be like, you are trying to act broke. I'm broke. I'm not rich. No.
Did I steal the money?
Yes, you have to check it one after the other. So she starts checking it one after the other, and then it's less than what she called. So dividing by what she called, minusing it from it, subtracting it, we got an extra 5,500 or 6,000 there. I really cannot remember, but the money was up to 5,000 naira. So imagine you're inflating somebody's price by over 5,000 naira, not even 3K or 2,000. I would have managed. And then She doesn't even apologize. She's looking at me as if, oh, it's her right, and then I trampled on her rights. It's quite unfortunate, you know. I think that when we point hands at our leaders, they don't just come from heaven. It starts from here. What we do in our very private spaces, what we do when no one is watching, what we start doing right from our homes, because these people did not just wake up and they get into leadership positions. They were once like us. And even as we are here, what we get to do with power, what we get to do with the platform is just what projects who we are as a people. So when you look at it, it's quite unfortunate. People are always trying to see how they can cheat others. So it's a very, very common thing. And that is why I just said that greed is responsible for greed, because the desire for people to just want to make it by all means, not even caring if it's detrimental to another person. Imagine that you pay for a new engine for your car.
And someone takes it out.
Brings an old engine and is insisting that, oh, this engine is new. You know, we cheat people in different ways. Sometimes you go want to change your phone's battery. They put an old battery for you and tell you it's a new one, and they inflate the price by times 2. So there are so many things that people do in their corner, not just in our very local communities, but also even the seat of power. You see that people do that. But for me, like I said, it starts from
the grassroots.
when we're doing it in our private spaces to a point where we get to where this is more projected. Even though people say power corrupts, I don't believe entirely in that, because we get to corrupt the power. It just projects who we are already.
Who we already are. Exactly that. All right, people, we'll open up the phone lines right about now and we'll get talking. Do let us know what your thoughts are about this. What do you think is responsible for the growing level of greed we experience in our communities? The numbers to call are 090-7353-00 and 44 or 090-8766-8888. Remember, we have a WhatsApp portal number on 090-9705-44 and 50. And on this number, you can send us your WhatsApp messages, your text messages, your voice notes, letting us know what you think, is responsible for the greed, deep-seated greed in the heart of people. Just over the weekend, I was seeing a video of a lady who she traveled from Benin all the way to Lagos, and she went to the airport. She got to Lagos already at the airport, and then when she was at the airport, she boarded a normal taxi from the airport to Ajah, where she was staying. And on the app, it was showing her 21,000. She was like, oh, no problem. She's already tired. Let her just get on with her business and just walk away and all of that. And then when she decided of course, Lagos with the normal traffic, there's traffic everywhere. She got to her house, and at the end of the ride, it was 52,000 naira. From 21,000 naira to 52. And the lady was like, from Benin to Lagos by bus is 25,000, and they're going to drop me at my junction. And I picked a boat from the airport within the same city. So it was later, I was going through the comments, and people were like, they've hacked some of these taxi services where they can now inflate the prices, they can change the prices, they hack the system, and they try to, because I've always wondered how from where I stay to this place, I end up paying double the price sometimes. Maybe just a little bit of traffic on the road, and these people start complaining, there's so much traffic on the road, and it's not as bad as Lagos even. And when I get here, I'm paying almost ×2 of what I'm supposed to pay. Maybe from the start of my trip, I'm seeing 3,500 naira, and I get to the office, I'm paying about 6,007 or so, just because of maybe a few minutes of traffic. These things, we take them for granted. We have children in our homes that, we see how they behave. And like you said, it starts from somewhere. Leaders were first citizens. They were first children even. They were born by somewhere. They were first part of a family, and they grew up until they were able to assume that position. Maybe it was an aspect of them that was overlooked, even as market women, because some people might want to come out. When I asked this question on my socials, a couple of people came out to say, oh, it's because of the situation of the country. I'm like, is it not biting you too? It's biting you, it's biting me, it's biting everybody. So why do you think that person that you want to cheat is not also feeling the heat of the same economy?
Now, talking about transport services, I think another thing is the fact that it's already on the app. I would say some of these e-hailing services, some of their drivers, something they do that it just exudes greed. They would see that an amount is fixed for a particular place, and then when you call them, they're like, oh, you have to add it by at least 10% or 15%. And then I'm like, if you want to fix your prices, why are you still on the app? Can you just leave the app and go do your whole taxi thing outside of the app? Because the app is already fixing the price, even though we understand that a fare might be a little bit up or even more than what it used to be. If you cannot be on the app, then you have to leave the app. Imagine someone telling you that, oh, if you are getting from here maybe to area 1 and then maybe the app is saying something 3.5, they come to you and they say you have to add 1.5.
Yeah.
Like a whole 1,500 naira. It's so much. So I think that it's the whole greedy mentality. I want to blow. I must make it now. It doesn't matter who actually is inconvenienced. It doesn't matter at what detriment or whose detriment I become rich or I become wealthy or I accumulate so much for myself. I just want to make it somehow. So it's quite unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it's about recognizing that for us to thrive, we must move away from this mentality that we must make it at the detriment of other people. No, you must not. Cost. And somehow this greed comes with consequences, because as you are trying to also make it, another person is also trying to make it as well.
And they'll cheat you somewhere
too. So you end up being a victim. So at the end of it all, like they say, if you know wise for Lagos, you don't feel wise for anywhere. So the thing there is, as you are trying to be wise, another person is also trying to outsmart you as well. So when everyone, I'm not saying people should act like fools. You shouldn't be a fool, but you shouldn't try to make it at the detriment of another person. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Right, there you have it, guys. We're still on the General Open Banters right here at Eagles 102.3 FM. And it is your radio experience you can count on. Of course, we'll go out on a very short cash out break. And when we get back, we'll get up this conversation. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Eagles 102.3 FM. Abuja. Here to stay. Get
the desired clients for your business and service and get your phones buzzing. From the 1st of September to the 31st of December, you can advertise and reach a large audience with the Eagles FM Ember Months package. Advertise on any of our platforms and get a whopping 30% discount. That's right, 30% discount. For more information, please call 080 59198658 080-5919-8658 or 081-5791-7278 081-5791-7278. The Eagles FM 102.3 FM Ember package is a sure way to getting a wider clientele for your business and service.
Please listen to this announcement. Farex Borehole. We are competent. We are committed. We simplify borehole for your borehole survey, for your borehole drilling, or any of your borehole challenges. Call us on 080-3596-5170. 080-3596-5170. You can visit our office at Goshen Plaza.
We've been able to gather together from the internet space. Do let us know what you think is responsible for greed. The number to call remains 090-7353-00 and 44 or 09087668888. Remember, we have a WhatsApp number and you can reach us on 090-9705 44 and 50. Now, like we said, greed is a complex and a multifaceted issue, and there's no single factor responsible for it. That's what research says, at least. But there are some potentials that contribute to these factors. There are certain things, that can be seen as contributors to the greed that we experience in different sectors. And the first says there are psychological factors. And that is fear, insecurity, fear of scarcity, fear of loss, or uncertainty can drive individuals to accumulate wealth and power. Say for instance, people who grew in a community or grew up in an environment where they had little to nothing to live on.
Okay.
Now, when these people find something to do, they try to exploit the situation as much as possible. And many times, even before we had this conversation and before I, tried to read about it, to talk about it, I figured out that it's definitely a complex problem. It's something that is deep-seated, right? It's not, sometimes I even like to call it a psychological problem, like it's a mental disorder, because how do you amass things that you probably do not need? You might not need it for a very long time. So how would you amass such a thing? Fear of insecurity. I grew up in a community where there's so much lack. I grew up in a community where there's so much, and the funny thing is, you would expect that people who grew up in these kinds of communities will understand what it means to lack. So they will want to be better people, so that people that are currently in the states that they once were will not suffer what they had to suffer. But it is funny that I have seen it many times that the people who actually grew up in privileged communities are the ones who tend to gravitate towards helping the people who are underprivileged or underserved. They're the ones who tend to, show more empathy towards other people. And it's so funny to see, and sometimes it's very confusing, because again, I have suffered before, so I should know what it means for somebody else to suffer. I would not want that person to be in the same situation. But yes, fear of insecurity might be the reason, because of your past experiences, because of the kind of growth that they've had, because of the environment that these kinds of people have grown in. That is the reason that they might be experiencing this psychological problem called greed. Secondly, there's what we call personality traits, where you can tell about a person by their behaviors. You can tell about a person by the character that they exhibit. You can just most likely tell about them. Or you see, if they say, oh, Martha, you say, oh, this person is like this, that person is like this. Some people's personality traits is psychopathy, greed, narcissism, greedy behavior. They have, but they want to take from others. There are people that never ever give. In fact, one time I saw online that they call those kind of people the grave, because they say it's the grave that always takes and never gives to people. So some people are used to this kind of behavior. They are always they're always getting from people. They're always trying to take from people and never giving back. So yes, some of the reasons people might be greedy is because that is their personality trait.
I think another one that could be responsible, possibly from childhood experiences, from how sometimes maybe parents do not control them, or maybe because of the fact that maybe as children they were used to seeing people take things that belonged to them. Maybe so that way their attitudes were shaped towards trying to acquire things that are not even theirs. So they have to, maybe more like should I say, a retaliative mechanism that since this was done to me when I was a kid,
I have to do it to somebody else. I have to do it to
someone. So they just grew up with that mindset, I'm coming to take it all. It doesn't matter who is inconvenienced, it doesn't matter at whose detriment, I'm just coming to take it all. So many of these factors are responsible. But the most important thing here is that we want to hear from you, actually. Also tell us what you think could be responsible for greed, even though it seems like so many factors are responsible. What's that one thing that stands out? Yes, for you. You can call us on 09073530044, or you can send us a message on WhatsApp 09097054450. And remember that we are live across all social media platforms, talking about Facebook and YouTube. So go on there now, send us your message, and let us know what's on your mind as regards this topic. Yes, what you think is responsible for greed in our society today. We have just given an account of so many instances where people have exhibited this character of taking what does not belong to them, not even because they need it, but because they just don't want the other person to take it. And for the fact that even in our spaces where we sell, where we do businesses, we still see people try to, deceive others and basically act like it's fine to do that and go away with it. How did we get to this point? How did we come up with this mindset that greed is almost becoming a norm? I'm afraid to say it's a norm, but let me just say almost becoming a norm, because even when you complain. That's how we do it. So it's normal. But let's hear from you. 090-7353-0044 is the number for you to call us right here on the General Open Banter segment. Let's hear from you. What you think is responsible for greed in our society?
It's the fact that sometimes people contribute to, these kinds of vices that we see in society. Remember, especially for people who went to boarding schools. In fact, this is not something that is only common in boarding schools, basically secondary schools, where the senior has the right to do whatever they want to the juniors. I remember some time in school, I had that senior who was always coming to take my provisions from my locker. But you most likely will not be able to say anything to that senior because they've given them so much authority and so much power that they get away with literally anything that they want to do. We see this a lot in boarding schools, and that's why when the conversation comes up, is the boarding school better than day school? Sometimes, it can be better, but other times, you'd see some of the vices that thrive in such communities. You see some of the things that happen in these kinds of places. You'd just wonder how you even made it. Till date, I wonder how I made it out of that school. It's not like it was a very terrible situation, but in the boarding school setting or the secondary school setting, it is where oppression has been normalized. It is normal for your seniors to oppress you. Sometimes you go talk to the house masters, you talk to all of these people, and they'll say things like, oh, they're your seniors. When you get to that position, you will also do the same. So you'd see juniors looking forward to be seniors, so that when they get there, they can retaliate. And you see, it doesn't take us anywhere. It just becomes a vicious cycle.
It perpetuates a cycle of, people just feeling like they can hurt other people.
And get away with it.
Yes, because they just want to be wealthy or they want to be rich at all means.
Of course.
Imagine you're selling something. You're still going to make profit from that. And yet, you are going to pin your pan. Even these containers, this tin milk thing that people use to measure beans, a cup of beans or cup of rice. Okay. Sometimes they make it to go up. They'll heat it to go up so that they'll reduce the size. And then they are telling you that 1 cup of rice is, I think, is it 900 now? How much are they selling a cup of rice? 900, because it's been long I bought a cup of rice, but I think it should be 800, 700, 900, because the last time I got it was 500 naira. So how Nigeria is, every day we wake up, there is inflation, so it should be about that there about. But you see that no matter how much or higher the prices get, you see that they are trying to make more profit than on you job.
And that's why the models can never look normal. They always look dead.
They always push it. They have a way of making it to look so rickety because they want to make off profit. And it's quite unfair. And as you are doing that, your child is seeing what you're doing.
Exactly.
And he goes to school in his own area, space of socialization. He's doing it to his peers, and that is how that cycle continues to go on and on. And then tomorrow we are asking that, how did we get here? How are we having leaders that are behaving like this? But you are also raising leaders in your own capacity. What you're doing in your space, you are raising leaders, and what you're doing, these children are seeing it. You think that your children do not see what you do? They see what you do. So however it is that you want to look at it, I think that it is still the cycle that we have continued to push and push and push, and it's quite unfortunate that there seems to be no end in sight at the moment. I don't know, because somehow people would tell you that we're basically just doing what you need to do
to survive.
So your survival should be at the detriment or the expense of another person. These are some of the things, Do
you know, I also came across a video sometime, I think a couple of months back, where this celebrity said he woke up from his house and he wanted to just dash people money.
Okay.
He wanted to give people money. I think he said he kept about 500,000 and he wanted to give people money. He had a deal, he pulled through. It was a lot of money, and he thought that his way of giving back to the society would just be basically helping the people on the streets.
Okay.
He went to the first place. He says, okay, how can I do this? Let me look for people that are already trying to do something for themselves. Yeah. And he went to these same potatoes. He said, okay, madam, how much is this basket of potato? And the person is like,
have a call.
Okay, let's take this one and then we keep up. Hello, good morning to you.
Am I right to English FM?
Yes, please.
I'm Mr. Tolu Alokpe calling from Aso.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tolu Alokpe. Let's hear you. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, you guys' deliberation were quite interested, right?
Okay.
But one that if the foundation is destroyed, what will the follower do? Do you understand?
Yeah.
It is not about we are raising a leader now in our own way. We are raising leader now in our own way now. It is because of what is it called? Inconvenience.
Okay.
It is because of hardship that the leaders are caused. It is not we that raise those that is doing it now. We are not the one that raised them. Those that raised them were.
But I didn't know.
They were not like us today.
Okay.
They were not like us.
Okay.
They raised them well.
How can you guarantee that? You say they raised them well.
What are you saying? Was Nigerian like this before? The Asian people, didn't they enjoy Nigerian before now? No, man, let us be realistic.
I think it continues to get worse because we continue to
It didn't start now. It didn't start now. It's not about now anymore.
Okay, so the fact that
The foundation has been damaged.
Okay. But he's just
so the fact that it
saying
didn't
the same
start
thing.
now, does that mean that it cannot be changed at all?
And he said,
The fact that it didn't start now, does that mean it cannot be changed at all?
until the leaders that our ancient, our rigged way correctly.
This is the problem. You want to keep doing things the old way. But anyways, whatever the case is, I always encourage us, or we always encourage us here on radio to be open to change. To be open to change. It's terrible that we normalize these things. And the reason for these conversations many times is not just because we want to have them for the fun of it. It's because if we must change a society, if we must have a society that is now a bit more solid and their values are not eroded, it has to be one step at a time. And just consider this our corporate social responsibility. But let's see who we have here before we head out. Hello, good morning to you. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Goodman.
Good man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I want to contribute a little on this topic.
All right.
From my personal experience, I think apart from insecurity, inferiority complex can be part of what causes people to be greedy.
Yeah.
I came across a situation like this sometimes with a person. And this is even in a religious setting.
Okay.
You know, it happened that we supplied certain things and it was second-hand one. And it was so devastating that I was in a position to accept. I said, no, I couldn't accept it. And after now, I set up a cooperative and incorporated with some individuals to see how it goes. Somewhere along the line, I got incapacitated with that problem. And I could not reach out to those things. When I came back from treatment, and I had to find out that I have been skimmed out of that totally. And I called the individual and asked him, why this now? He's always on the defensive side. And so to me, I think it's something that I've been there for some time now, and it is going to be difficult to change because they have come to that sort of level. And what of the man on the street who doesn't have any hearing, any inkling of responsibility? You know? So that's it. I think it's insecurity coupled with the inferiority complex. Something to use the situation to rise up to want to be like the other person. You know? That's it. That's my contribution.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution right there. We really appreciate that. And yes, like he said, it's not something that started now, but it's not something that cannot be completely changed. Yes, it can. Yes, it is possible. And it depends on all of us to decide to make that change. Hello. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Madam Martha, Dr. Olajide from Lucy.
Dr. Olajide, what's going on?
It is well.
Is it Christmas already?
We are celebrating in advance.
All right. Good morning and welcome.
Back to the issue on the board now.
Yes, let's hear you.
Madam Speaker, you know my perspective always quite different.
All right.
Now the leader you see there today
They are the replica of what we are. If those ones there now come out of that place tomorrow, those of our grand that have not been there will move to that stage. So we demonstrate our character there. What am I telling you? See, just like you said, until we change our face, until we change our face. If you don't change yourself, if you don't change your family, and you expect government to change it for you, we are joking. We are not ready. Go to churches, look at the choir, look especially their men, look at the kind of hairstyle on their heads. Look at the kind of dressing they dressed. That is not office, so that is not public office, so that is what we call spiritual office. Imagine the kind of hairstyle they are putting. And if you thought, you say, what does that want God to do now? God does not look at my hair. Look at the kind of dresses they put on. If you thought, you say, no, God didn't want God to thank God about my dressing now. And these are the people we expect to contest for councillorship, chairmanship, governor, president tomorrow, and you think they will go there, and if you talk, they say, forget that thing, it doesn't concern you. Let us change this thing right from our home. You can see a child of 18, 25 years driving a car of 20 million naira. Where did he or she get that money? And the parents are happy. They are partaking from that like that. In Osun State last year, they call themselves parents of Yahoo boys. They are protesting that why is policing arresting their children. We have lots to do, individually, collectively. It is what in us that we exhibit when we assume a role of leadership. God bless you people. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olajide. We really appreciate that contribution here. And yes, this is where we're going to be drawing the curtain for today. Thank you so much to everyone who contributed to us. Remember, you can rewatch these episodes on Facebook and on YouTube as well. It is our responsibility. It's not the government. The government is not coming to do it for you. The pastor is not coming to do it for you. The teacher in school is not coming to do it for you. It starts from the home. You know, at least we have some level of control over there. So we must exercise that control. We must exercise that leadership by ensuring that things are being done rightly. Even if the change has to start from my home, then that is my responsibility, and I have to take it as seriously as possible. Thank you guys so much for being here on the General Open Banters. Of course, you know that the next hour we will be talking mind and body, and it's quite a packed time right there. Please indulge us and be right here for all the programs we have lined up for that hour.
All right, that is it right here on the General Open Banter segment. Thank you for listening, and please stay with us till the next hour. Remember, it is you and us until the stop of the hour, 2 o'clock. Keep it locked.
All right, bye-bye.
Tap in and turn it up all day. This is Beyonce.
Hey, it's Lil Nas X.
Hi, I'm Harry Styles.
Dude, this is Burna Boy.
Playing the